Ice Golem Immortal Shield glitch. Back into 2016, players discovered something Supercell never intended. If you dropped an Ice Golem and immediately placed an Expo directly behind it, the death animation created an invincibility shield. This was the Ice Golem Immortal Shield glitch, and it was one of the first truly broken interactions that made everyone realize the game's code could be broken. It all started when some very intelligent cycle players, the kind of the people who count elixir in their sleep, found this ridiculous interaction. It was all about timing and placement, a perfect storm of bad code. You would drop an Ice Golem right at the bridge, and then immediately deploy an Expo positioned directly behind it, like it was cowering or hiding. The game's ancient spaghetti code targeting system just could not handle this. It completely fried its brain. When the Ice Golem finally died, its death effect, that little Frost Nova, would trigger and stay on the field for a split second. But the game's code prioritized this lingering area of effect as the most recently placed unit. It saw the death animation as a higher priority target than the giant crossbow actively shredding their tower. So when your opponent, in a total panic, saved up 6 elixir and fired a rocket at your Expo, the spell dealt 0 damage. It just vanished. It was fully absorbed by the ghost of the Ice Golem. The Expo took nothing. It was a perfect invincible shield that cost 2 elixir. This allowed for the most relentless, unpunishable Expo chip damage you have ever seen. You just sat there, watching your tower melt, completely helpless. Your spells were useless. Your troops would get distracted by the Expo's hitbox, but could not be supported by your spells. This card was already a total pain to deal with. Now, imagine it being invincible. It was pure, unfiltered pain. It completely dominated the ladder, creating a meta of unbearable siege, until Supercell finally patched the targeting in early 2017, but the emotional scars, those are forever. But an unkillable Expo is nothing compared to turning the game's worst card into a literal machine gun. Sparky Rapid Fire Glitch, 2017. Seriously, an invincible Expo is annoying, but this next one was just absurd. Back in 2017, Sparky was infamously known as Trash on Wheels. It was the worst legendary. Maybe the worst card, period. Everyone laughed when they saw it. It was slow, it took 5 seconds to charge, and everything countered it. Zapping it, skeletons, guards, it was just sad. It was a 6 elixir donation that was more of a liability than a threat. But this one rare targeting exploit changed everything, turning the game's biggest joke into its biggest nightmare. It was triggered by a very specific counter that, ironically, was supposed to kill Sparky. You had to deploy a graveyard directly on top of an enemy Sparky. The skeletons would pop up one by one and distract it while it was trying to charge its main shot. Sparky would lock onto a skeleton, start its firing animation, but the skeleton would vanish, killed by its own swarm or the princess tower, right before the shot actually fired. The game's code just could not process this. It would register the shot as invalid because the target was gone. But instead of just resetting the charge like it was supposed to, it forced an instant retarget. Sparky would not recharge. It would just immediately lock onto the next skeleton and fire again, and again, and again. This chained into 3 to 5 rapid-fire laser blasts. It was a literal machine gun. It would shred an entire graveyard, then the tank in front of it, then the tower, all in about 2 seconds. Viral YouTube clips of this went everywhere, and for a brief, glorious moment, Sparky was the most terrifying card in the game. Supercell had to patch the retargeting mechanic just days later, and Sparky went right back to being trash. A rapid-fire Sparky is crazy, but at least it was not haunted. Cloned Goblin Drill Ghost. This exploit showed up just days after the Goblin Drill was released on June 11th, 2021. The card was brand new, and the community's bug hunters were already breaking it. The timing for this had to be absolutely perfect, frame perfect. You had to cast your clone spell precisely as your Goblin Drill was deploying and burrowing into the ground. If you got it right, the game would duplicate the drill into a thing. It was a translucent ghost building with only 1 hit point. But here's the weird part. This spectral version failed to burrow. It did not go underground. It just floated. It would drift harmlessly across the arena like an actual ghost, not spawning any goblins, not attacking, just moving. A moving building. It was eerie, just silently gliding over the river. But the game's artificial intelligence did not know it was a ghost. It still drew aggro. Everything would target it. The enemy PEEKKA, their musketeer, their towers, all of their spells would try to kill this 1 hit point ghost. Imagine seeing your opponent's 7 elixir PEEKKA taking a long walk to chase a floating transparent building that did nothing. It was the ultimate distraction You could pull all their defenses to the wrong lane to attack this ghost, while your real push on the other side took the tower for free. A viral Reddit clip from June 22nd captured this drifting drill, and it was honestly just creepy to watch. It fueled countless YouTube glitch montages, and really confused a lot of players who had no idea what was going on. It was finally patched in the Big Champions update in October 2021, and the ghost was busted. A floating building is creepy, but this next glitch created a literal god. Mighty Miner Immortality Glitch. This was a catastrophe. Champions were a huge hyped up addition to the game, and this glitch was unleashed literally hours after the Mighty Miner's launch on March 30th, 2022. It was not some hidden hard to do exploit. The card was just broken on arrival, ruining the hype. It happened when the champion activated his explosive escape ability, the one where he drills to the other side, while on a razor-thin sliver of hit points. He would survive a lethal hit from a tower or a troop just as he triggered the dash. The game would get so confused, it would register the hit as lethal, and erroneously flag him as dead. But he was not dead. He would complete his dash, drop his bomb, and pop up on the other side. But, as far as the game was concerned, he was a ghost. This rendered him completely invisible and untargetable to all defenses. Troops, towers, nothing could see him or hit him. He was a literal god. He would just walk right up to your king tower and start chipping it down, completely undetected, while your opponent just spammed laugh emotes. A viral Reddit clip posted the same evening he was released showed him soloing entire arenas. It was an auto 3 crown. The community immediately called him the Immortal Miner. It was total ladder chaos. Supercell had to slam an emergency hotfix on April 1st, April Fool's Day. How perfect, just to fix the targeting and make him mortal again. An invisible champion is bad, but what about an entire squad teleporting behind enemy lines? Royal recruits, enemy spawn, teleport. This was not just a glitch, this was a masterpiece of high-level big brain exploitation. This was not something you find by accident, this was engineered. It exploded in mid-2020 and abused the one thing that makes Royal recruits unique, their fixed 6-unit line formation. The card has to spawn in that specific line across the arena. So, what happens if you give them 0 spawn space? Players figured out you could completely fill your entire backline. We are talking from the King Tower to the river, just a solid wall of buildings. Spawners, Teslas, cannons, elixir collectors, whatever. Just clog your whole side of the map until not a single tile was free. It looked ridiculous. Then, when your side was completely full, you would just drop the Royal Recruits card anywhere. The game would try to place them, fail, try again, fail, and then it would just freak out. Finding no valid spawn space on your side, it would teleport the entire squad directly behind the enemy's king tower. Just like that, 6 recruits, instantly spawning on their king. This was instant, unavoidable pressure, instant chip damage, and in touchdown mode, it was a guaranteed free auto win. It completely broke that game mode. A legendary Reddit clip of this went viral with people calling it the buff recruits always needed, finally making this dead card useful. The craziest part is this glitch was so infamous, so legendary, that it stayed in the game for over 2 years. Supercell finally crushed it in an October 2022 maintenance patch. 2 years is a long time, but this next one broke the entire point of the game. 1 card glitch. This glitch totally broke the 8-card deck rule. It allowed players to enter a battle with just 1 card, not an 8-card cycle deck, a 1-card deck. Imagine it. Your starting hand is just 4 golems, or 4 earthquakes. This was running rampant in late 2020 and into 2021. It was mostly done in 2v2 modes where it was easiest to pull off. The trick was, one player would hit play again, then immediately leave the party. That player would then go to their deck slots and swap to a pre-made deck that had only 1 card in it, like all golems or all battle healers. Their partner, who was still in the queue, would find a match and the game would just load the glitched deck for both of them. There was also a 1v1 variant for friendly battles that worked by doing some precise weird deck slot scrolling. This led to the most absurd wins in Clash history. There is a famous video from Orange Juice of a YouTuber winning a full match by using only Earthquake. They just spammed it on the enemy tower over and over until it died. No troops, just spells. They Earthquaked a level 12 tower out of oblivion. Imagine trying to defend against infinite miners or a constant stream of battle healers healing each other. It completely shattered the balance of 2v2 and Clan Wars, and Supercell had to patch the deck loading in early 2022. If you're enjoying this trip down memory lane and learning about these broken glitches, hit that subscribe button so you do not miss the next one. Winning with only Earthquake is wild, but not as wild as putting an Inferno Tower on top of the enemy king, building teleportation glitch. This one was just disrespectful. Hitting the scene in December 2022 after the Season 42 update, this mirror-based catastrophe enabled guaranteed auto wins. It let you teleport buildings, or even troops, straight to the enemy's side, shattering all placement rules. This was not an easy glitch to find. It required real precision. Here's how it worked. You would cast a super low-cost spell like Zap or Snowball anywhere on the map. Then, you would take your mirrored version of that spell and hover it precisely over the opponent's king tower. But you would not let go. While still holding your finger down on the screen, you would use your other hand to select a building, like an Inferno Tower, or even a balloon or Inferno Dragon. Then, you would release the mirror. The game's code would just implode. It would be tricked into spawning the Inferno Tower at the mirrored spell's location. You could literally place an Inferno Tower on top of their king tower, roasting it from point-blank range, or drop a balloon right on it. Throw in a freeze or a rage, and it was game over. There was zero counterplay. Imagine your opponent's perspective. The match starts, and 1 second later, an Inferno Tower materializes on their king. It was an instant checkmate. A YouTube short titled, "The New Clash Royale Mirror Bug is Game-Breaking" captured the absurdity, and TikTok tutorials blew up. This was so game-breaking that Supercell rushed an emergency hotfix the very next day to stop the chaos. An Inferno on the king is bad, but this next glitch created an actual army of champions. Irrit card glitch. This was straight up hacking. This was not a fun, quirky bug. This was deliberate cheating. Igniting chaos in early July 2024, just a few months after Little Prince debuted, a card that was already considered overpowered, this exploit enabled players to fill all 8 of their deck slots with identical Little Prince cards. It completely shattered the 1 champion per deck rule. Players figured out a way to exploit deck loading vulnerabilities to trick the system into registering 8 of them. In a real battle, they would not just spam them all at once, no. They would play normally, maybe trickling 1 or 2 out to seem legit, but then double and triple elixir hit. They would deploy several princes, one after another, and allow simultaneous ability activations for just 3 elixir each. This would summon 8 or more guardians at once in a cascading, unstoppable swarm. They called it the Guardian Army. It escalated to 16 or more in triple elixir. It was an instant tower melt. These cheaters had a 99% win rate. It completely ravaged the ladder and ruined global tournaments where real money and qualifications were on the line. A Reddit thread exposing it got over 400 upvotes, with players screaming, "The game is broken again. Is Supercell asleep?" Supercell had to take extreme measures. They completely restarted the global tournament, disqualified all the cheaters, handed out 30-day bans, and slammed an emergency maintenance patch. An army of champions is terrifying, but what about an army of full health clones? Mirror clone health boost. An army of champions is bad, but at least it costs elixir. This next one broke the entire value of the game. This was from the Holiday Feast event in December 2024. In that mode, you would battle to shatter a central pancake stack, and breaking it gave your whole team troop upgrades. It was a fun, chaotic mode, until people found this. Normally, as we all know, clones have 1 hit point. They die to a zap. They are fragile. They are a tactical, low health pool card. But, if you cast your clone spell precisely as the pancake shattered, the upgrade mechanic glitched. The game got confused and treated the 1 hit point clones as standard real troops. They would level up along with all your other units and refill to max hit points. A 3 elixir clone instantly became a full health tanky monster. People were cloning an evolved P.E.K.K.A. or an Electro Giant right before the pancake broke, suddenly creating 2 full health max level E-Giants for a massive positive elixir trade. They were as strong as a mirrored unit, but for way less elixir. It was unkillable. It was an auto win. A Reddit post about it blew up, with users raging, "Just lost a game because of this exact bug." Supercell's fix was, well, lazy. After 11 days of pure abuse, they just removed the clone spell from the event card pool entirely. Problem solved, right? Event glitches are one thing, but this next one let a level 1 player jump straight to the Unity 1 spot on ladder. 10,000 trophy glitch. This one was just hilarious. Surfacing explosively on July 8, 2025, this exploit allowed players to masquerade at 10,000 trophies. It was triggered by a specific weird deck link that went viral. If you pasted this website link into your phone's browser, selected copy deck, and then opened Clash Royale, the game would just believe you. It fooled the system into visually displaying 10,000 trophies on your profile. But it was not just visual. For one game, it actually queued you into ultimate champion level matches. you were at the top of the world. This led to the most hilarious mismatches ever recorded. A Reddit post about it with over 2,400 upvotes showed a level 1 player with 10k trophies. Imagine being a pro player, top 100 in the world, and queuing into a match against a level 1 king tower with level 3 goblins. You would see these low-level players getting instantly destroyed, of course. It was the coughing baby versus nuclear bomb meme brought to life. But the glitch was repeatable. People were using it to intentionally lose and then win one, just to farm the high-level rewards from the 10k trophy road, getting chests and cards they did not deserve and should not have had for months. It flooded the top of the ladder with what were essentially free wins, messing up the rankings. Supercell had to patch the link by mid-July. A visual trophy glitch is funny, but this next one was just painful. Mirror bug. A trophy glitch is funny, but this was just painful. This one was not a cool exploit, it was not a secret trick. The card was just broken. It plagued players starting in July 2025, and it hit fast cycle decks the hardest. If you attempted to play Mirror too quickly after playing your previous card, the game would just fail. It would consume your elixir. It would play the deployment sound, but nothing would spawn. You would be sitting there, watching your elixir bar go down, waiting for your mirrored mega minion to spawn and counter their balloon, and nothing. Just silence. You see the balloon floating closer, you have already spent the elixir, and you are just staring at the screen in pure panic as you realize your defense is not coming. Your card just vanished into the void. The game would refund the elixir, but only after a 1 to 2 second delay. In a high-level Clash game, a 2-second delay is an eternity. That is a dead tower, that is a lost game. A Reddit thread by a user named FalcionN200 blew up saying, "I have lost at least 5 games because my damn mirror will not spawn my card. It cost countless games, ruined so many pushes, and made the card unplayable till it was finally fixed in the October 2025 maintenance. But a delayed mirror is nothing compared to the hack that finally, literally, broke the game. Infinite Elixir hack, 2025. But a delayed mirror, a visual bug, none of it matters. This is it, the big one. The hack that finally, literally, broke Clash Royale. Erupting on October 16th, 2025, this was not a glitch. It was a hack. A full-on, client-side manipulation. A data miner and modder named Generic Name 1911 figured out how to alter his game files to set all card elixir costs to 0. He did not need elixir. He did not have a 10 elixir cap. He could just spam. And he did. He flaunted it by rocketing from 9,000 trophies to global #1 in just a few hours. He was demolishing pros, like Ian77 on their live streams, with an endless, relentless spam of princes, lumberjacks, hog riders, and mega knights. You can see the replays. The elixir bar is full, and he just keeps dropping cards. He was dropping 30, 40, 50 elixir worth of troops in seconds. Ian77's YouTube video on it was just pure, unfiltered rage and disbelief. Pros were getting stomped live. The hacker was even taunting them in Discord. A Reddit post titled "Infinite Elixir Theory has been proven" got over 9,000 upvotes. It was the infinite elixir theory all those old TikTok memes made real. It was the biggest, most blatant hack in the game's 10-year history. The community called it the Elixir Apocalypse. The game was literally unplayable at the top level. There was no point in even trying. Supercell was forced to trigger an emergency maintenance break by October 18th to patch the vulnerability and ban the hacker's account forever.